With the Nintendo Direct delay, a very interesting and unique situation has developed where a number of games and announcements have squeezed their way out there, and it's not 100% clear whether they were supposed to be a part of the Direct, whether it's just coincidental. Some of them were overtly unveiled, some of them were accidentally unveiled and then removed, but it's interesting because the list has grown, Gabe, and now we have a bunch of things that probably were supposed to be a big part of Nintendo's show last week.
Yeah, at least a sizable part, just because we have so many of them now. We want to probably start with Yoshi's Crafted World, and the fact that we got a title for the big Yoshi game Nintendo is preparing for Nintendo Switch. It's still not coming until early next year, but that was clearly part of what was going to happen during the Direct. I think it would be too great of a coincidence if the name just happened to show up on the website like the day of the Direct and they had no ties to each other. And that's how I feel about all of these things, right? It's too much of a coincidence that all of this semi-Nintendo related stuff is happening on one day, and it's the day the Direct was supposed to happen. So I fully believe that this was all part of it. We'll never know for sure, but that's where I sit.
Yeah, I think these all were, and we'll run through them. Yoshi's Crafted World, probably we're going to get a trailer. I still think that, and I guess that's the interesting point, is like how much of this gets modified, or do they still just announce it? And I know you and I feel differently about that, so we'll get there. But Yoshi's Crafted World, the Mega Man 11 demo that came out a day early on Switch, like I think the gears were just too much in motion. They had to just roll with that, and that's probably the case for a lot of these, especially when they involve other platforms, and that's something that I think that's where like the difference between these is. Like Yoshi's Crafted World, okay, like no more information, that was kind of removed. The Mega Man demo, though, it was on multiple platforms, so it was there. And then Final Fantasy 15 Pocket Edition, that looked like it was going to be kind of a cool third-party get for Nintendo, but because it was also releasing on Xbox One and PlayStation 4, they sort of had to go along with the original plan.
Yeah, if you're Microsoft and you're Sony and like Square Enix comes to you and says, hey, can we maybe delay a week just because we can't put it on Nintendo? They're gonna be like, no, man, we used to this is what we agreed on. This is happening,
right?
And then the game comes out, and now we have a coming soon to Switch. Does that mean it's coming soon, as in when the Direct airs, presumably this coming week, or does it come like sometime after? We don't really know as far as that goes. But Final Fantasy is an interesting one.
It's got to be. I mean, it came out the night of the 6th. You think that would have been something like, hey, it'll be available today. It wasn't an exclusive available today because, as we mentioned, it's out on other platforms. But like it still says in part of their marketing speech, like, now through September 13th, the game has a 40% discount with the same limited time offer available for the Nintendo Switch version at launch. They don't say when that launch is, but they're clear to say like, hey, it was part of the launch plan, right? So that clearly was going to be a part of it. Civilization 6 is next on the list, and this one appeared on the official 2K and Firaxis website and since has gone dark. But while I was there, we found out that Civ 6 is coming to Nintendo Switch on November 16th, 2018. They say, quote, it will have the latest game updates and improvements, 4 pieces of additional content, which adds 4 new civilizations, leaders, and scenarios, and will allow up to 4 players to compete or cooperate in wireless local multiplayer. So that would have been a pretty cool and unique get. Clearly, again, a part of the Direct.
Yes, and this would have been a nice third-party addition. We suspect that there's going to be more third-party stuff happening in said Direct, but yeah, it's kind of a bummer that this one's ruined.
2K pledging more support is nice. I would have preferred it to be XCOM over Civ. I think that's going to be a little, I don't know, to me, it seems like it would be a little bit of a tricky fit, but I like that they are expanding genres, and hey, at this point, big third-party franchises coming to Switch is a good thing. There's one other one, and this isn't official in any capacity. The aforementioned 4 are all very clearly fully real, but there's a rumor going on that something Call of Duty was going to be a part of the Direct, and perhaps it ties into Blackout, perhaps it ties into the coming beta. The beta will begin on PS4 before the Direct, so again, this might be absolutely nothing, but GamingIntel.com is saying that they're confident something Call of Duty related will be in the Direct. So take that, I guess, with a grain of salt. But yeah, how is this going to affect things? Will it affect things?
I think it has to. I know you kind of think that it won't, but I think it has to in some fashion. At the very least, the Mega Man demo thing. You at least take that out of the Direct. Because the day exclusivity thing, which is what made it cool in the first place, is now gone. Why would you mention that? So at the very, very least, Mega Man demo no longer in the Direct probably. Everything else, I have no idea.
I still think you can mention it. I still think you can say, like, hey, Mega Man demo available now for Nintendo Switch. And you can still say Final Fantasy 15 Pocket Edition HD, bringing, the beloved franchise to Nintendo Switch. And it's on sale, available immediately. Because the verbiage still applies. Like, they can literally not change anything.
The Final Fantasy one, yeah, that one works. But the demo thing, if they're saying, and play it a day early on Nintendo Switch.
Oh, yeah, I guess if they say that specifically, that would have to be removed. But if they just say, like, ooh, Mega Man 11 coming to Switch, and they, like, air that new Boss's trailer, or the Robot Master's trailer.
Here's my issue. I want the director to give me new information. I know that Mega Man 11 is coming. We know a date for it. Like, what new information about Mega Man are you going to provide?
But remember, this information, like... I guess I look at it and say, how many of the people that they're broadcasting this to, like, how many people know that Final Fantasy 15 Pocket Edition, how many people are seeing this? How many people are seeing Civ 6? So I think, how many people are seeing Yoshi's Crafted World as the title? So I think for a lot of people, those are still going to feel like new pieces of info. And Nintendo does touch back on games that are coming out later. They touch back on things that are, like, it doesn't have to be, like, it's everything that they say in a direct isn't never heard before.
Yeah, the Yoshi thing's 100% saying. I think the Civ thing, 100% saying. Same with Final Fantasy. It's just a Mega Man thing. That's the only one that
So they cut that.
Yeah,
the video is now 34 and a half minutes instead of 35 minutes.
Yes.
I'm going to say that it's still there. And maybe that's the crazy thought, but...
If I'm Nintendo, I am not putting this direct out with Mega Man still being on there. And I love Mega Man.
Mega Man is still... It's been a big part of Switch this year, and the demo is still there.
Yeah, but
if I'm Capcom and, like, I'm working with Nintendo, I still want that publicity.
Okay.
Like, we know that Super Mario Party is coming in, Smash Bros. Is coming in. Those are
but they have like new things to show. Like Yoshi, right? They're not gonna just say, "Hey, you know that Yoshi game we mentioned? It's still coming." The new information is it's not new anymore, but the title, probably a release date, or at the very least a release window, something like that. Civ 6. Yeah, like that. You still show.
So if Mega Man is cut, I will be very, very interested. That's not
Zach,
what I'm looking for.
The funny thing is, we're not going to know if it's cut or not, because if it's not on there, maybe
it was absolutely a part of it.
Okay,
it was absolutely a part of it.
Okay, I agree. I
think we have to believe that. Okay, so now, how big of a part do you think these things were? I think Yoshi's Crafted World, a new trailer for that, and maybe sort of a re-unveiling of that game. I think that's substantial. Do you think these third-party, the Mega Man demo, Final Fantasy 15 Pocket, Civ 6, do you think those were sort of their, like, ta-da third-party moments, or do you think those were more like brief mentions in either a sizzle reel or just sort of, touchstones along the way?
No. Mega Man was definitely not a sizzle reel. I think they had like, hey, available now moment. Probably the same with Final Fantasy. Probably. That one we have no way of knowing. I mean, I guess we'll know when the direct happens, but they're not big moments. And my first thought is, like, does this make you worried for their direct? Because this stuff, frankly, to us, isn't super cool. The demo for Mega Man's fun. I've played it a bunch. That's really fun. I'm not big into Civ. I love Final Fantasy 15, but I don't know if I want to play it looking like that, especially when I've already played it. I'll try it just to check it out, but that doesn't do much for me. Yoshi's very cool, but that's not this year.
Right.
So, like, this is all kind of not super exciting stuff for me personally.
Yeah, to me, it's like, okay, if this was going to be the focus of the direct, or if these were like sort of the like wow cool third-party announcements, whether we knew them previously or not doesn't have much impact. I don't have a ton of interest personally in Final Fantasy 15 Pocket or Civ 6. Therefore, knowing about it, not knowing about it, I'm not that impressed. If they're just, like I said, parts of the presentation, they're bigger things, like, I have to imagine that this is not the focus. To me, if you're going to come out with your big end of the year, you haven't had a direct in a long time, this is what you're going to try to really set the stage for the holiday season, and maybe even a little bit into 2019, given the Yoshi inclusion. And it's Final Fantasy 15 Pocket, which is previously out on mobile phones, and Civ 6, which is a cool game that has a very, it's a beloved franchise. I just don't, like, if that's your pitch, well, a little worried.
Yeah, same here. But there's gonna be more stuff. That's 35 minutes worth of a direct. All this stuff, it's maybe 5 minutes. right?
Yeah, I really don't think these are the big third-party announcements. I think it is interesting to just see sort of the inner workings of how, when they're tied to other platforms, the show must go on. Civ 6 wasn't, so that was clearly a mistake. Yoshi wasn't, so that's clearly a mistake. We have no clue about the COD thing, and if that was, if that's a part of it at all. But yeah, my message is I'm not worried. These things are there. If you're into them, cool, but I don't think this was going to be the show. So they'll still be there, I think, but I really feel like there's plenty more to be excited about.
It'll be
hopefully.
It'll be hilarious if they don't even mention Civ 6 anymore. They will.
Oh, they have.
Yeah, no, they will. They will.
Especially since that one got pulled.
Yeah, no, I know they will, but that would be funny to me, is all I'm saying.
And we know the presentation was already done, so do they even make adjustments? What does that look like? We expect the date to be next Thursday, a week after.
You just gave me a funny thought. Do they even make adjustments? So during the direct, they say, and the Mega Man demo is exclusively available a day early.
Yeah, I guess it's what did they say? Whoever's running the show, what did they?
No, I mean adjustments.
I don't know. It's very easy to doctor a video and cut and edit and make things,
I'll do it for you,
make things fit the current situation. Games available for freelance. Let us know how you feel in the comments down below about these interesting announcements that probably Nintendo would have liked to not come out, and some of them clearly didn't mean to come out, and what you think that means for the Direct that we expect to be this week. Give us your take in the comments down below, everybody. Make sure to subscribe to stay up to date on all the latest greatest from the Switch and the actual Direct when it comes. We will be eagerly watching and with the most bated breath to see if they adjust and if we can figure it out. If we can see between the cracks, if we can see the code of the Matrix and figure out where Reggie blinks twice awkwardly, and we know that there was a cut of Mega Man 11 demo. So keep your eyes peeled for that. Follow us on Twitter and Discord if you want. We got links in the description below. And until next time, for myself and Gabe, have a fantastic day, everybody. We love you. Let's get to this Direct and hopefully get some great announcements. Until then, though, Switch Force